आज छुट्टी कर ली उसने कि बीवी आ रही है। मेरे बीवी को कंधे पे उठा के लाना है उसके एयरपोर्ट से। बट नदीम ने भी शुरू किया है, हैदर ने भी शुरू किया है, बट वो हमसे आधा घंटा पहले निकलते हैं, उनको हैंडीकैप देते हैं हम। और मैं 1 बॉडी मसल करता हूँ। आज मेरा शोल्डर था एंड आई डू माई जिम फिनिश इन अबाउट 25 मिनट्स। आई डोंट टेक एनी ब्रेक्स। तो लोग कहते हैं मैं 2 घंटे जिम लगाए हैं, उसमें से 1 घंटा वो गप्पे लगाते हैं। सो आई डोंट टॉक। हार्ट रेट पूरा टॉप पे रहता है। आज शोल्डर से तो मेरे शोल्डर्स की है and shrugs in the end की है।
So the clip you just saw is a 55 years old Wasim Akram doing a workout in gym. He's pushing hard. He's still super fit. He's still in the game. This is the last extract that I'll do from this book. And I'll recommend that you go and buy this book. Anybody who has lived in Lahore, who has followed cricket, is a passionate follower of the game, and who's been a fan of this legendary left arm seamer should buy this book. He's told wonderful stories. Editing could have been better, but still you can figure out what he's trying to say. And for me, it's 5 out of 5. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So Amir Sohail has backed off from his hard stance, and in the quote, he said he didn't mention the match fixing thing. Instead, he said that the morale of the team was low when Wasim Akram didn't play in that quarterfinal. So he's just backed off, and so he continues that I did supply confirmation when I next took the stand. Again, I had to repeat how I had been injured. Again, I had to state that I had never offered Atta anything. I testified about my father's kidnapping. The inquiry also took evidence from the investigating officer, who confirmed that the miscreant had not been a fixer or bookmaker. So the one who kidnapped his father wasn't a bookmaker or a fixer. That's what the investigating officer is saying. So Justice Qayyum said, you appear to be very unpopular among your teammates. Funny. Then he goes on that my anger with Majid Khan boiled over. Majid's attitude to me has always been antagonistic. I mean, on no occasion has he ever appreciated me or congratulated me. Remember Majid Khan is Imran Khan's first cousin, Odi Khala da putter. Even with Imran, he didn't get along with him. They had issues. I mean, so I don't know whether, because Wasim Akram was Imran Khan's prodigy, find. So maybe that is the reason. I'm not sure. So he further mentions the board has never helped me respond to these vile allegations, and I've been left on my own. What am I and my family going through? That doesn't seem to matter. So next he comes on to, he mentions about Jojo. Pyare bachon, Jojo kya hai? Jojo ek joari hai. So now he realizes that Jojo had a grey side to him. And he was probably associated with some bookmakers. That's what he mentioned when Jojo and his brother appeared after Wakara. I have to confess, it shook me. Jojo looked evasive, and I began seeing him in a different light. And he again mentions that probably his brother Nadeem was a gambler as well. So that's an interesting part. So that's the grey area. I mean, Jojo was his best friend, and Nadeem his brother, and they were probably involved. Then he goes on that Salim Malik is adamant in proving his innocence, and on the other hand, Harun Rashid, the manager at that time, for whom he mentions anything beyond the limitations of his imagination had to be somehow corrupt. Harun, for instance, accused Saklan of deliberately giving away runs in a game when all that had happened was that a ball change had rendered Saklan unable to maintain his grip. So Pakistan lost that match, and Harun Rashid is blaming Saklan that he deliberately gave away runs in an over. However, Wasim thinks that was because of the ball got changed and he couldn't grip it properly. So the blame shifting goes on. Then he mentions in the middle of it all, accompanied by his twin brother and a personal bodyguard, appeared the hapless Ataur Rahman, trying to back away from his bogus allegation against me. So he appears in the court and tries to retrieve the allegation, that affidavit thing. So then he mentions Rashid Latif. One of his allegations against me was that I used a mobile phone freely. I flourished he flourished his tape recorded conversations with Atta, Said Anwar, Basit Ali and others, although he greatly decreased their probative value by conceding he had edited them. So Rashid Latif appears in the court and he has some recorded conversations, but then he says that he edited them. Confusing. So he goes on that after the Australian series with Australia, they meet Zimbabwe in Pakistan, and they lose to Zimbabwe. So there are more suspicions, more stories, more theories about match fixing. And then he mentions that the captain Nami Sohail resigns and Moin takes over, and then there's a juicy part to it. Then Sohail now took the opportunity to go back to Qayyum and give further. Suddenly, he produced an affidavit from Atta saying that I had pressurized him to withdraw his allegations against it. So it's a hodgepodge. It's a total drama. It's a Bollywood movie going on in Qayyum's court. I mean, then Sohail comes in, and I think they should make a movie out of it. Sohail comes into the court and says, proves another affidavit that from Atta saying that Atta was forced. What a joke. So the story is coming to an end. The chapter is coming to an end. So I'll just read the whole of this. I think Judge Qayyum is saying to the counsel of Wasim Akram, Khwaja Tariq Rahim, to give your closing remarks. It's just like that happening, you know. It's not exactly that, but that's what. So I'll just read you what Khwaja Tariq Rahim, by the way, is an influential person. And he might be knowing most of the judges at that time. That's why Wasim Akram hired him, or he worked for free. That's for pro bono, remember? So I'll just read all of it. My counsel, Khwaja Tariq Rahim, ended up putting it well. No inquiry could have set a standard of proof low enough to draw conclusions from what he called an abundance of hearsay evidence, tainted with ulterior motives and malified intentions, beset with contradictions that were indicative of the sheer lack of credibility of the persons making the depositions. So he makes it clear that's all made up. They're stories, they're hearsay evidence. There's nothing concrete. There was factual carelessness, such as Atta's original affidavit implicating the absent Ijaz. So Ijaz Ahmed didn't even play, and Atta mentions him in the affidavit, remember? There was idle inference, like Latif basing allegations on mobile phone use. I don't think it's valid in the court of law. There was wavering consistency, including Sohail's initial guardedness and later talkativeness. There were strange words he uses. There were strategic leaks. An interim report was shown to certain journalists at the Commonwealth Games. Lacking too was completeness in the initial allegations. Not until December 1998 was it revealed that both Mark Waugh and Shane Waugh had received money from a bookmaker for pitch and weather information. Oh, gore bhi chor nikal aaye nahi. उन्होंने भी स्पॉट फिक्सिंग की थी बिफोर द फेटफुल एनकाउंटर्स विद सलीम मलिक. सो उससे पहले सलीम मलिक कोई चुत्तू थोड़ी था, उसको पता था यार कि ये इन्होंने स्पॉट पे. दैट्स व्हाई ये शातिर बंदा सी. दैट डिड नॉट हेल्प देयर क्रेडिबिलिटी ईदर. So he goes on. At that point, the inquiry had been effectively winding up. With confirmation that covers up were not confirmed to Pakistan, it effectively had to restart and move to Melbourne for a week of hearings in January 1999. Shane Warne was examined. Mark Waugh was examined again. By now, however, I was far away. I was about to head to India, and I was again captain of my country. So that's where he ends that chapter. That's a photo of Inzamam and Sultan, probably. Now, Mushtaq Ahmed and Inzamam coming to the court of Qayyum. So this chapter has ended, and he's not guilty. I don't think he did anything major. I don't think he would sell his country for money. And for me, he's not guilty. And there are jealousy factors. There's politics. I mean, and in Pakistan team, there's always that element of group bazi. They and that hierarchy thing. जी मैं कप्तान ते मैं ओ ते मैं ए ते मैं senior ते मेरे चुको ते ए करो ते ओ करो. That goes on. So he's ended. He's clean. He's clean. And so just go and buy this book if you love cricket, if you're a passionate follower of the game, if you are a fan of this man. And if you've lived in Lahore in that 80s, 90s era, and it's absolutely brilliant. And there are further stories how he meets Shanira, his second marriage, and his next stint of commentating. And so they're wonderful stories. Editing could have been better, but it's still wonderful. There's a word in English, he right, and probably it's a Welsh word, and it's like it means a deep bittersweet feeling of longing and nostalgia, and that book gives you that bittersweet, an era that has ended, but it still lingers on, stains on. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I come with another book.
कप्तान था, ये अनफिट हुआ था, फिर आमिर सोहेल ने पहले 2 टेस्ट में कप्तानी की थी। आज मैं ये बात बताता हूँ और मतलब कॉड बहन के व्यूअर्स को ये बात पता चलनी चाहिए। आई वाज कवरिंग दैट टूर। आप बिलीव करें कि आपको पता है वो बड़ी टसल चल रही थी खालिद महमूद की, चेयरमैन ऑफ द बोर्ड, माजिद खान सीईओ, वेदर वसीम शुड गो टू साउथ अफ्रीका और नॉट, क्योंकि माजिद कहता था ये फिट नहीं है, इसको नहीं जाना चाहिए, मैं नहीं भेजूंगा। खालिद महमूद कह रहा था नहीं इसको भेजो। इवेंचुअली बहरहाल खालिद महमूद सेंट हिम। लेकिन आई विल बी वेरी ब्रूटली ऑनेस्ट हियर, वसीम के आने से पहले एक कंसेंसस था, क्योंकि माजिद खान ने फोन करके कहा था कि यार वसीम को मत आने देना। एक कंसेंसस था, हारून रशीद, राशिद लतीफ बैठा है सामने, राशिद लतीफ, आमिर सोहेल, कि यार वसीम ना आए तो बेहतर है, टीम के लिए बेहतर होगा। ठीक है, आप बिलीव करें वसीम ने, आई रिमेंबर टीम प्रैक्टिस करने गई थी, पोर्ट एलिजाबेथ में हम थे, तो आई स्टेड बैक एट द होटल बिकॉज वसीम वाज अराइविंग। वसीम जैसे ही पहुंचा, दोपहर का टाइम था, होटल पहुंचा, टीम होटल पहुंचा, तो उसने आते ही पहले पूछा एजाज माना का कमरा कहाँ है, माना यानी एजाज अहमद। लेकिन जो क्लासिक चीज थी ना, मैं सिर्फ ये किस्सा इसलिए बता रहा हूँ कि वसीम की वर्थ एज अ प्लेयर क्या थी। एज अ प्लेयर जब वो टीम वापस आई, तो चाहे राशिद हो, चाहे वो आमिर हो, चाहे वो हारून रशीद हो, राशिद की मैं बात करता हूँ, वसीम भाई करके बात, राशिद, डिस्पाइट एवरीथिंग ही हैड हिज रिस्पेक्ट एज अ प्लेयर। तो प्लेयर तो बहुत बड़ा था, डॉक्टर साहब वो
बहुत बड़ा जी।
क्या करें यार, अब मतलब अब यहाँ जो है ना, क्या आदमी बोले। लेकिन वो बेंगलोर टेस्ट की जो आप बात कर रहे हैं, आप बिलीव करें, आई वाज कवरिंग द इंडियन पार्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड कप इन दैट टूर्नामेंट। तो जब बेंगलोर में टीम पहुंची पाकिस्तान की, तो इंती था, माशाल्लाह माशाल्लाह, आपको पता है हर चीज में माशाल्लाह होता था इंती के। तो इंती से बहुत चीज दोस्ती थी इंतखा भाई से, वैसे थी। तो ये लोग जब प्रैक्टिस करने आए, तो मैंने छूटते ही पूछा, वैसे मैंने इंती से मैंने पूछा, मैंने इंती भाई वसीम खेलेगा क्वार्टर फाइनल? ये कैसी बात कर रहे हो भाई, आप सवाल ही पता होगा ना खेले, ये तो बहुत बड़ा मैच है। वैसे मैंने पूछा, वैस ने भी यही बात कही, अरे तू कैसी बात कर रहा है यार, 90% भी फिट हुआ मैं खेलूंगा, इतना बड़ा मैच है। दिस वेंट ऑन फॉर 3 days एंड ऑन द डे ऑफ द मैच, मुझे याद है दोपहर डे नाइट था, हम बैठे थे प्रेस बॉक्स में, एंड देन आई सी दिस थिंग हैपनिंग के आमिर सोहेल को एक तरफ बुलाया जा रहा है, जावेद मियाँदाद उसको कुछ कह रहा है, फला एक फील्ड पे चल रही है, और साफ पता लग गया जी वसीम अकरम नहीं खेलेगा। तो दीज आर द मिस्ट्रीज ऑफ पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट, आई वांट टू से द मिस्ट्रीज ऑफ पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट। लेकिन क्या करें डॉक्टर साहब, क्या करें, प्लेयर इतने बड़े कि बोलते ही बुरा लगता है।
बिल्कुल सही कह रहे हैं कि as far as वसीम अकरम is concerned, one of the very few players कि आज भी वो स्टूडियो में या कमरे में वॉक इन करते हैं तो we stand up. That is the grandeur of his cricket. None has come before him, none will come after. He was a magician.
डॉक्टर साहब मैं कहूँ हम लकी रहे, हम आई कंसिडर माई सेल्फ वेरी लकी कि आई कवर्ड क्रिकेट इन द 90s, जब ये ग्रेट्स खेले यार, लोगों को तो पता ही नहीं।